with Alert Day coverage now. This is Wave News.
It's now 6 o'clock on your Friday morning. Thanks so much for starting your day with us here on Sunrise. I'm Olivia Russell, and for Shannon Kogan with meteorologist Tawana Andrew and meteorologist Carson Meredith joining us again this morning. Just shows you how much rain we're dealing with. The fact that Carson is joining us this morning, too. We love having you here, but we hate the fact that you have to be here because of this weather.
Right. We've been doing basically 12-hour shifts with the weather team going back to Wednesday night, and here we go again.
Here we go again. Another big cup of coffee and tea for us this morning. And by the way, for those of you heading out the rain gear, find those rain boots. You're going to need it again because, yeah, this rain is still pouring down. And for some of you, it is very heavy as of right now. We watched that batch of torrential rain move through the Louisville metro, almost an inch of rain in the past hour. That's how heavy that was as it moved through. And we're still seeing some pockets of heavier rain right along 65 in the Waterson and from the Highlands into J-Town into Fern Creek, with some of the heavier rainfall that we watched move through the metro now racing right along 64, seeing that from Shelbyville all the way south towards Little Mount. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that. Some pockets of heavy rain here and there across parts of southern Indiana, a little bit more so just to the southeast of Salem. So keeping an eye on that. Additional heavy rain in the very southern portions of Meade County down towards Litchfield, and again still in parts of Hart County into northern Greene County. Greensburg are getting some of that heavy rain. Same thing for those of you in the Campbellsville area, and a lot of lightning with that thunderstorm south of Lebanon. So I'm sure that woke a lot of people up just as that started to move through. As we head over the next 12 hours, here's what we're going to be dealing with. So more rounds of rain moving in. We do see that rain chance dropping a bit as we get closer to 9, 10 o'clock as the rain becomes a little bit more scattered, but it ramps right back up once we head into the lunch hour and into the afternoon. This is because we'll see multiple waves of these showers and thunderstorms racing through. Some of those for the afternoon hours could be on the stronger side, especially for those of you further to the west of 65. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that. So quite a bit of rain around, and keep in mind as well, temperature-wise, we're starting off in the 50s in most spots. We're going to end up in the 70s for many of us once we head into tonight with that warm front drifting to the north. That's going to give us a much-needed break for a couple of hours, Carson. But as of right now, it's just about the heavy rain and the impacts that we're seeing.
Yeah, we've seen significant impacts already this morning on the roads. And just going back to Wednesday night, much of the region, especially along and south the Ohio River, has already seen 4 to 6 inches of rain. When you factor in what we're seeing now, what we'll see later on today and tonight, then again into Saturday and even early Sunday, we are going to pick up another 6 to 8 inches of rain along the Ohio River and down towards, let's say, Mumfordville and Bardstown. If you live to the north and to the south of that orange area, so if you live in the yellow colors, you could see another 3 to 6 inches of rain, again, on top of what we've already seen. This is truly a historic flooding event. And as we get towards next week, the big story won't be flash flooding anymore. It will become river flooding. For the Ohio River in particular, notice the McAlpin lower forecast to go to near moderate stage as we get towards Monday of next week. That will almost certainly close River Road. That's going to cause significant issues along the waterfront as we think ahead to thunder over Louisville next weekend. As far as the McAlpin upper, also moderate flood stage, that forecast by Monday night around 33 to 34 feet. That will cause serious issues along River Road, and we're already seeing issues on the roads this morning. Wave News reporter Marissa Berg is out live on the Snyder Freeway this morning where a mudslide occurred earlier. Marissa, how's the cleanup efforts going?
They've been working for at least an hour. We know that this alert came through about that time, about 4:55-ish, somewhere around there. And I want you to see what we're looking at. You see the crews cleaning up. You see picking up the mud and moving it. But they're down to one lane, and we've seen this line gradually grow. So if you have to take the eastbound of the Snyder, be careful because you're going to get stuck in this traffic as they're cleaning up. But it is moving relatively slow and steady. But at the same time, give yourself some more time this morning because you never know what you're going to come across. We've seen the Tucker Station Road area, and we can tell that there was some flooding there, but it's receded, and There's some downed trees that haven't been cleaned up yet. And again, the interstates are slick because the rain has, been constantly coming down. So take it slow, give yourself time, and just make sure that you have those headlights on. We've seen people driving around without headlights while we're doing this coverage. So just be careful when you're heading out and about this morning and this weekend. Back to you.
Yeah, we know that's a busy spot with the morning commute, so expect some backups there. Thanks, Marissa. Our crews checked on Nelson County, where families are bracing for the floodwater. The Rolling Fork River is expected to peak over the weekend. It's the second time in less than 2 months that flooding is expected to hit the small town of New Haven. One person we talked to who lives just off Main Street says flooding has a big impact on the whole community.
For them to say once every 5 years, and now we've had it twice in less than 2 months, is devastating for this small little town.
Bullitt County's judge executive tells us their teams will meet this morning to talk about how they'll respond to the flooding as the severe weather continues. The Rolling Fork Fire Department has also been busy helping people prepare for the rising waters. Firefighters were helping to fill, then hand out sandbags to home and business owners. Emergency management leaders say it's important to have your emergency plan ready to go. As communities prepare for the marathon of severe weather to continue, many are assessing what Wednesday night's storms brought. In Indiana, a small church community will have to find a new place to worship on Sunday after the storms blew their roof off. The Conway Church is about 10 miles east of Salem in Washington County. On top of this blow, several gravestones in their cemetery were damaged by a mobile home that became a missile of flying debris. Church member Dallas Apple says he was amazed to find one of his letters still intact at the church. It was a treasured letter that a friend wrote to Apple after his wife died.
She wrote that right after she passed away, and she knew how much I was hurting, missing her, and it explains it all right there. And yeah, it means a lot to me. I got more copies of it, but I didn't want to lose that one.
Apple says the church does have insurance. They're just waiting on an adjuster to figure out their next steps. Some people are still waiting for the lights to come back on. Here's video of a row of utility poles toppled over in New Albany. EMA Director Kent Barrow suspects the straight line winds snapped these poles. Duke Energy's outage map shows there are still around 1,000 customers without power. Now let's take a look at the LG&E outage map. You can see there are still a few pockets of outages. If you see a downed line, do not go near it because it could still have a live wire. You can call LG&E to report a down line by calling the number on your screen or using the LG&E app. Middletown was one of the hardest hit areas in Louisville. Business and homeowners spent hours putting up tarps and boarding up windows to stop rain from seeping into their property. This is video taken near Beckley Creek Park. Neighbors spent the day picking up roof shingles, insulation, and snapped tree limbs. Powerful winds peeled off roofs and sidewalls overnight. Crews had to make quick temporary repairs just to protect property from even more water damage. A homeowner we talked to says they're thankful the damage from Wednesday night wasn't worse.
I was looking at it and I was thinking how it could have been much worse. It could have took our whole house, and we could have been hurt. We could have lost everything, but God blessed us and he only took the exterior of our house. He didn't take the whole house.
Louisville homeowners who want to throw away their storm debris will have to wait until next week. Public Works Solid Waste Management Services team is delaying opening up collection sites because of storm and flooding concerns. Public Works hopes to open up debris drop-off locations on Monday. The Kentucky State Emergency Management Director says his agency will offer support to several local EMA leaders. Eric Gibson says his team at the Operations Center in Frankfort is busy coordinating with state and federal agencies to make sure the hardest hit communities get the resources they need. Gibson says after dealing with several tornado warnings, his focus is shifting to flooding and potential search and rescue operations.
That's starting to set up to be an area that we're really going to be concerned about. Make sure you have a plan to get to high ground if your property is being inundated by water.
Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear says the Kentucky National Guard is also on standby, ready to respond to any storm-related disasters. Other parts of Indiana are also dealing with the aftermath of suspected tornadoes. Check out this crazy video captured near Indianapolis. You can see the funnel pretty clearly, but officials still working to survey the damage. This was in Carmel, Indiana, where officials say the storm took out a radio tower, trees, and homes. Thankfully, no injuries were reported. Indiana had one weather-related death. That was a man in Danville who died after coming in contact with downed power lines. Weather officials are looking into many reports of damage throughout the state. This video is from New Goshen. That's in northern Indiana near Terre Haute. County officials say the National Weather Service surveyed the area, and preliminary data suggests an EF1 tornado likely hit there. They say the suspected tornado had peak winds of 110 miles per hour. That's strong enough to level and rip apart dozens of buildings. You can stay informed on what's ahead with the Wave Weather app. Our storm tracking team gives you early alerts for weather before they hit you. It's free to download in your app store. Now let's check in with Tawana, taking a look at the next 12 hours.
Yeah, our rain gear is going to be our best friend over the next couple of days because we are going to be watching for more rounds of these showers and thunderstorms across the region throughout this morning, into the afternoon, into this evening. Some of those afternoon and evening storms could be on the stronger side, so we'll be watching that very, very closely. And temperatures will gradually climb from the 50s where we are right now into the upper 60s and low 70s once we head into tonight. So we actually see that warming trend lasting into the overnight hours as well. Now, we're kind of mild this morning and very wet this morning, and we're certainly dealing with the impact of all of that rain, Carson, that we are still seeing coming down across the region.
Yeah, the biggest issue on the roads right now still in the south end. That's the live view once again from the Wave Storm Tracker of the Snyder eastbound between National Turnpike and I-65, where we had a mudslide about an hour and a half ago. You can see these bulldozers trying their best to scoop up all the mud and the trees, but this mud is so waterlogged and so heavy. The back wheels of this bulldozer have been getting up off the ground, trying to pick all this mess up and shove it back onto the side. The right lane of the Snyder is still blocked. This again eastbound between National Turnpike and I-65. So use caution if you travel that part of town. New accident just popped up on the Watterson Expressway near the airport. Otherwise, aside from that mudslide in southern Jefferson County, most of the major thoroughfares are moving along just fine. A quick look at some of the Trimark cameras across the rest of the metro. You're going to deal with visibility issues, and obviously watch out for ponding on the roads as well. But aside from that issue on the freeway, Olivia, so far so good.
All right, thanks, Carson. It's 6:11 now, and with all this severe weather impacting people's homes and businesses, it can be easy to fall victim of scams. Next, we'll hear some advice from experts on how to keep yourself safe.
Now, Wave News.
It's 6:14 now, and this rain still coming down, Tawana. It feels like it's just been so constant, and it's not really doing anything other than just that same constant downpour.
Yeah, we're going to be dealing with the rain totals really adding up. I mean, Carson and I were talking about it. We had almost an inch of rain in the past hour in the metro.
It's a lot. You want to be really careful
rain
on the roads this morning. We can't stress that enough.
Yes, especially when you see situations like this. This is the Snyder eastbound near National Turnpike, and that right lane blocked because of a mudslide that happened in that area. So they're really just trying to clear out all that mud, all that debris, even just whole trees from the roadway so that people are able to get by. Now, traffic is slow in this area, so keep that in mind. And we're going to be continuing to keep an eye on this throughout the morning because this is one of the more substantial impacts that we have seen so far. We have had some reports of some water rescues as well across parts of Wave Country earlier this morning and into last night, too. So turn around, don't drown is our mantra. We're going to do our best. I really hope no one drives through any more of those floodwaters as we head over the next couple of days. We've seen around 4 to 6 inches of rainfall across a good chunk of Wave Country in the past 48 hours. Everywhere you see that orange and red, yeah, that's nearly 4+ inches of rain already. And of course, it's still raining. This is why we have all these flash flood warnings in place across most of Wave Country to start off the day. In the metro, what we're dealing with right now, one heavier downpour tracking through the Clifton neighborhood. This is moving towards Prospect and Linden, so giving you that heads up as of right now. Also watching some more pockets of heavier rain near parts of Middletown and Fern Creek, too. Some of the heaviest rain in our area right now, tracking further to the east. We're seeing that in portions of Shelby County, especially over Shelbyville. As of right now, Frankfort, you're getting inundated with some torrential rain. This is the same rain that raced through the metro not even half an hour to 45 minutes ago. And we're also watching some more of those heavier downpours stretching from Bullitt County south through E-Town all the way into the eastern parts of Grayson County. For those of you from Hart County into Greene, Taylor counties, yes, you're seeing more of that heavy rain as well. So we're watching that. The rain not as widespread, not as heavy across southern Indiana, but we are seeing some pockets of heavier rainfall in parts of Washington County and very northern Clark County and southern parts of Scott County as well. So the flash flood warnings are in place, the flood watch is in place, and we have this boundary just sitting over us right now. It is the reason that we're just seeing this parade of showers and thunderstorms across the area, and we're going to keep that going all the way through Sunday. That is why that flood watch lasts for everyone through Sunday. Temperature-wise, nothing too shabby right there. We're in the 40s and 50s across the region, a little bit warmer for those of you further to the south. And keep in mind, with these rounds of rain that we have across the region and the location of that front and that boundary, our temperatures are going to remain on the mild side throughout the majority of your Friday. We're going to be watching for these rounds of scattered showers, some thunderstorms, with, of course, the heavy rain embedded in that through about the 8, 9 o'clock hour. Once we get past that point, the rain does become a little bit more scattered. For those of you along and north of 64, you do have a better chance to dry out a little bit more at that point. Then once we get past lunch, here we go again, some more rain racing through wave country. We'll watch for more of those showers and thunderstorms, and especially as we head into the afternoon. This is where we see that continued chance for some strong to potentially even severe storms across parts of our area. Notice the futurecast just popping up a few little pockets of pink, and that's a little bit concerning. Really watching that 4 p.m. through 8 p.m. time frame for the better opportunity for some of those stronger storms. But overall, our main focus is especially the flooding as we head over the next couple of days. I showed you we've seen around 4 to 6 inches of rain in the past 2 days already. Today alone, we could add on an additional 1 to 3 inches of rainfall across a good chunk of our area. We, of course, still have that marginal risk in place across wave country as well. We're watching the damaging wind threat, the potential for some hail, and also keeping an eye on that isolated tornado threat, especially for those of you along and west of 65. Looking ahead to the next 10 days, here's what we have going on. Tomorrow, yet another alert day. Your Saturday will be the last of 4 that we've had out, and we'll watch for another wave of some strong to potentially severe storms moving in after about 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. Some heavy rain embedded in all of this, too. We'll watch that severe threat dropping off after about 8 a.m. Then we'll get past lunch on your Saturday. Additional rounds of rain. Keeping an eye on some afternoon strong to severe storms as well. Some of that may last into the evening. Widespread rain through your Saturday night and into Sunday morning. We do have a slight risk of severe weather across the region for tomorrow with that damaging wind, hail, and isolated tornado threat still on our radar. Once we are done with all of this, once it all moves out, we could add on additional 3 to 6 inches of rainfall for those of you further to the north in wave country. But there's that serious swath of 6 to 8 possible. That's on top of what we've already seen. This is why we've been talking about the flooding threat so much over the past couple of days. Monday, Tuesday, quiet and cool, even chilly there, I say, on Tuesday. And once we get towards next Wednesday and then Thursday, Friday, we'll see some rain moving through the area, warming up to end next week, and things are trending drier and a lot more pleasant as we head towards thunder over Louisville. Let's hope that holds. Certainly, I have my fingers and toes crossed for that, Olivia.
Yeah, fingers and toes, as you point out there. Thank you, Tawana. Storm damage can pressure us to fix things quickly, but the Better Business Bureau is warning neighbors to watch out. Scammers will be out looking to take your money without delivering results. Experts call these scammers out-of-town storm chasers. Wendy Atkins with our local BBB wants homeowners and even store owners to remember you have the right to say no to someone who offers something that seems like an irresistible offer.
You want to pause and do your research first before you hire anyone, because again, scammers are going to try to take advantage of the situation, and you should get at least 3 to 4 estimates before hiring someone, and always research the company or individual.
If you suspect there's also any price gouging or other issues, you should report the business to the BBB or the Attorney General's office. As the morning continues, so will our threat for flooding. We'll continue to bring you the very latest weather developments. That's all ahead on Sunrise. Severe storms hit the midsection of the country this week, spawning dozens of reported tornadoes. That includes Lake City, Arkansas, where twisters damaged homes and flipped cars. Meteorologists say Arkansas and neighboring states could see additional storms and potential tornadoes through Saturday. But right now, we are just hoping for a break in the rain. Meteorologist Tawana Andrew taking a look at that 10-day.
Yeah, I was just watching some of the new modeling coming in, keeping an eye on what's going on between today and into the weekend. But as of right now, we're still watching more of that rain. We're watching the flooding threat across the area for the day today. Now, we do see a little bit of a break from the rain later on this evening before additional rounds of heavy rain. Some strong storms move in early tomorrow morning. We're going to keep those rounds of rain on and off nearly throughout the entire day on your Saturday. We finally start to dry out on Sunday, but keep in mind, for some of you, the flooding will still be a concern through that point. It'll be cooler and more comfortable as we get into the beginning of next week. In fact, we even see some drizzle and some flurries for your Tuesday morning before we rebound into the upper 40s and low 50s. Then we'll see some 60s by the end of next week as we watch some rain chances for next Thursday and Friday. And we'll keep an eye on the trend to show some warmer and drier weather as we head into the following weekend.
Warmer and drier. Thanks, Tawana. A man charged in connection to the Crystal Rogers murder case does not want to agree to DNA testing. Steve Lawson's legal team is objecting to the Commonwealth Attorney's motion. Prosecutors want to test hair samples that were found in Rogers' car more than a year after she vanished. Lawson's attorneys argue the hair will be consumed during the process, and that means they wouldn't be able to have their own independent expert test it later. Steve Lawson's son, Joseph, is also charged in the case. Prosecutors are accusing Stephen of picking up his son Joseph after he got a flat tire in Rogers' car after she went missing. Stephen is scheduled to go to trial next month, though he's requesting the trial date be moved for his lawyers to have time to go through the prosecution's evidence. An Orange County deputy shot in the head earlier this year is about to come home to his family. The Orange County Sheriff's Office says they plan to escort Deputy Zach Andry home on April 9th. Andry was shot 4 times while he was doing a traffic stop on State Road 56 in January. Andry was on a ventilator and sedated for weeks. Since February, he's gone through occupational, physical, and speech therapy.
I want to show you.
We are tracking some issues that people are seeing on the road this morning. If you look outside at the Gene Snyder in the eastbound lanes, they are down to 1 lane cleaning up a mudslide. We'll tell you more, and if you have to take this, we'll tell you how to reroute yourself so you can get to your destination ahead on Sunrise.
With Alert Day coverage now, this is Wave News.
Good morning and happy Friday. Thanks for sticking with us here on Wave. I'm Olivia Russell with meteorologist Tawana Andrew, and we made it to Friday, but still a long Friday ahead of us because of this right behind us.
Yeah, we have a lot of green on the radar, and I didn't notice you're matching.
I kind of blend in.
Okay.
It's a good thing I'm not a meteorologist, though, because I would blend in
the green screen over there. But hey, either way, you're looking green. We are seeing, of course, green in terms of beautiful, yes. I should specify. And the radar not looking as pretty as Olivia this morning as we're dealing with some more rounds of this rain across our region. Continuing to watch that trend where we're seeing some of the heaviest rainfall now shifting a little bit further into Kentucky, Indiana. You're starting to dry out a little bit. In the metro, we're seeing that moderate at times heavy rainfall still moving through, with the heaviest rain just south of Crestwood and towards Middletown. We're also watching some more pockets of that heavy rain anywhere from Trimble County and especially towards Frankfort. Anyone traveling on 64 in between Shelbyville and Frankfort within the next hour, you are going to be dealing with that heavy rainfall as well. As I mentioned, not as much of that rain showing up right now in southern Indiana. Perry County, though, you do have a decent downpour in the northern portions of your area, from Shepherdsville to E-Town, all the way south towards Greensburg, Campbellsville, and still into Hart County. Yeah, a lot of that heavy rain showing up. We had a lot of lightning with these thunderstorms as well this morning. So torrential rain will be a concern throughout the morning hours. We'll continue to watch that shift in terms of the rain pushing a little bit further and further to the south, allowing a lot of us to have a bit of dry time, especially along and north of 64. But by lunch, here we go again. The next wave of thunderstorms moves in, and we'll keep a very close eye on the potential for a couple couple of stronger storms later on this afternoon, especially between that 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. time frame is what we're looking at right now. So we'll keep an eye on that potential for damaging winds, some hail as well. And we're also talking about that isolated tornado threat, especially for those of you west of 65. We have the alert days that last into Saturday. But Carson, we don't really dry out until Sunday, so we have a while to go.
We sure do. We're not even really halfway in this historic rain event across the region. Let's give you a recap of what we've seen so far. This rainfall map goes all the way back to Wednesday night when that first round of heavy rain and severe storms rolled in. Where you see these orange and red colors, especially across Kentucky, that's where we've seen upwards of 4 to 6 inches of rain already. And again, we're not even halfway through this significant weather event. When we're looking at the extreme rainfall outlook, think of this like our severe weather outlook that we show you all the time. This one, not so much. But for today in particular, we're all under that slight risk for extreme rainfall. But do keep in mind, we're already seeing flash flooding this morning. It's not going to take much more rain to cause additional lingering significant flooding issues. But tomorrow in particular, there's not going to be as many breaks in the rain as what we saw yesterday and as what we are hopeful to see later on today around midday. So for Saturday, it is an all-day washout. And as a result, all of wave country is under that moderate risk for extreme rainfall, and further off to the west, that pink shade is a high risk for extreme rain. Those are incredibly rare, and already this year we've seen 2 of them here across Kentucky and southern Indiana. Additional rainfall on top of the 4 to 6 inches of rain we've already seen. We're looking at another 6 to 8 inches of rain for places along I-64 down towards Munfordville, E-Town, and Bardstown. We're obviously seeing those issues already with the flooding, but also with mudslides. Wave News reporter Marissa Burke is out live this morning along the Gene Snyder Freeway. Marissa, tell us how that cleanup effort is going along the freeway with that mudslide.
Carson, literally, like as you were doing your report, they just stopped the traffic completely. And I was looking at the map to see that it is backed up even further than it was, minutes ago. So just to let you guys know, this is the eastbound of the Gene Snyder, and it's down to 1 lane. But like I said, they did just stop traffic completely as they're still trying to clean up this mudslide. They sent out an alert close to 5 a.m. And so just in case you try to use your map on your phone and try to see how long this traffic might take, weather events don't get an estimated time. So just give yourself more time this morning if you have to head out this way. Those who want to get on 65 can get off on the National Turnpike exit and take the outer loop to 65 to avoid all of this traffic. Again, guys, be careful if you're heading out and about. One thing that I've noticed is even when the traffic was moving, the cars are still driving through a nice amount of standing water. So again, if you can find an alternative route and avoid this, that's going to be your best bet this morning. And guys, we're going to continue. Oh, now it's moving again. So there the car is going. So guys, I'm going to send it back to you, and we're going to continue to monitor this situation. Marissa Burke, Wave News.
Marissa, thank you. Here in Louisville, MSD workers are trying to prevent roads from looking like this. Blocked sewers and catch basins will only make the water rise even more. MSD says it will have crews looking for any blocked drains. You can call 502-540-6000 to report any water buildup or blockages you see. MSD says its strategy is to schedule crews so they're available around the clock. Outages in Floyd County, Indiana continue as crews work to repair power poles that snapped in half as storms pushed through Wednesday night. Aging power lines took a direct hit from suspected straight-line winds of Green Valley Road, dodging homes and significant structures. Crews worked late yesterday to repair power lines, with many more to go, including ones laid across the Floyd County 4-H fairgrounds. The challenge now is volunteer cleanup ahead of their summer rodeo. Still, the lack of extreme damage, though, comes as a surprise to people in the area who watched that storm move in.
Whenever I heard the noise come through last night, I thought for sure when I came out, at least this side of the neighborhood, something was going to be missing, houses or something. But I'm very fortunate that it was only power lines and there's no loss of life here.
Crews will continue their work to repair the lines this morning. In Jeffersontown, several businesses won't have much of a shield from the rain. This is drone video near the Blankenbaker Parkway area. The owner of JSO Wood Products says yesterday's rain and Wednesday night's winds have done thousands of dollars in damages.
How much is this worth right here?
$200 or $300.
And this is ruined right now.
Yeah, there's no salvage. You see how it's torn and ripped, and there's more of it over there. So some of the stuff in there may be salvageable, but you can't get in there, so it's not safe.
What were you thinking?
High winds knocked down barns, trees, and power lines in Garrett County, Kentucky. A storm rolled in before 4 o'clock Wednesday morning when most people were asleep. Thankfully, no one was hurt. There's a lot of damage to repair, though, and people there are still trying to see the silver lining.
It just felt sad, but I was also kind of happy because it hit their barn, but there was a house right next to it, and it didn't hit the house. So I was kind of glad about that, how they were probably there, and they were probably scared that it hit the barn, but it didn't hit them.
Crews are now turning their attention to the incoming rain and possible flooding. Storm shelters across the area have their doors open today. These shelters are for people who need a safe place to go during the storms. Governor Beshear says these shelters are especially important for people living in mobile homes. In Hardin County, the Vine Grove Safe Room opened early for people in that area. Fire leaders say the bunker has its own power system, Wi-Fi, and it can withstand an EF5 tornado. We have a full list of shelters up on wave3.com. Governor Beshear also activated the Kentucky Emergency Operations Center. He says the National Guard is on standby and ready to help wherever they're needed. Here's Tawana tracking the next 12 hours.
And as we head over the next 12, what we're going to be looking at more of that rain. Yes, some of you will get some breaks as we get into the mid to late morning time frame. But as we get into the afternoon, additional rounds of stronger thunderstorms are possible, and we'll watch for even more of that rain tomorrow. But the rain we've already seen, that 4 to 6 inches of rain that we've already seen, still having impacts out there, Carson. And we're watching a lot of those impacts on the Snyder.
Yeah, Snyder between National Turnpike and I-65. That's another live view of the Wave Storm Tracker as that mudslide cleanup continues. Marissa Berg mentioned a few minutes ago they briefly shut down the Snyder completely. Now one lane appears to be getting back through once again. If you want to avoid that mess entirely, your best option is going to be to get off National Turnpike, turn left on National Turnpike, go up to Outer Loop, take a right, and then you can rejoin I-65 at the Outer Loop, get on I-65 North heading into downtown, or get back on 65 southbound if you need to reconnect with the Snyder. Bottom line, if you live in southern Jefferson County, you normally take the freeway between National Turnpike and I-65. Plan on plenty of extra time to get to your destination. We're back with more Wave News Sunrise after this.
It's not just people that can get anxious about all the severe weather we're dealing with. If you have pets, it's also important to keep them calm during the storms. Animals can sense weather change, so it's important to keep them in mind when preparing for the worst. Pet owners should prepare an inside area strictly for pets. Placing your animals in crates with a blanket on top can reduce storm anxiety. Other ways to reduce storm anxiety include playing calming music or getting pet-safe calming medications.
Very common for animals to have storm anxiety. Sometimes the animals don't understand what's going on. I mean, they know what storms are, but they're going to get scared. They're not going to know where to go. So that's when you'll have them go under the bed, and then you can't get to them when a warning comes out. So the best thing to do is to do everything ahead of time.
Experts also suggest taking all of your outdoor pets inside. The weather can scare them away from your home if they try to find a place to hide. It's also important to make sure your pet has an ID and a microchip. Well, one dog here in Wave Country probably won't forget this encounter when they tried to make friends with a critter that washed up from the storm. Take a look.
What's that? Is that Crawdad? Oh, he's gonna get ya.
He's gonna get ya. Yes, he will. That video was sent to us from Marianne. She tells us this is her dog Leo's first time meeting a crawdad. Marianne didn't say where it was taken, but she does say that it happened after our storms on Wednesday. And throughout the video, you can see little Leo, who is just so persistent, still wants to be friends with that crawdad, or maybe wants to eat him because I do love some boiled crawfish.
They are delicious, but I think at this point, Leo's just like, why won't you be my friend?
Be my friend. I wouldn't expect to see a crawfish just wash up like that, but I mean, with these storms and all that flooding, anything can wash up with the water.
Yeah, so just be extra careful as you're heading out and about. You don't know what kind of little critters you might interact with.
Or big critters.
Or big critters. Be careful, y'all. I'll talk a little bit more about the rain that we have going on and more of that rain coming our way in just 30 seconds. Good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Tawana Andrew with you on this alert day, and we're keeping an eye on what's going on in the Snyder eastbound. This is near National Turnpike, as they're still working to clean up the mess from the mudslide that happened earlier this morning. The ground is so incredibly saturated. Not entirely surprised that this happened at all. Certainly watching that right lane still blocked. Traffic able to get by, but they're dealing with quite a bit of water, even standing water, according to Marissa Burke, in that area. So please be careful. Once again, Snyder eastbound near National Turnpike, significant delays in that area. And it's not surprising to see that going on as of right now, especially when you look at the radar estimate rainfall accumulation. We've seen nearly 4 to 6 inches of rain in many parts of Wave Country. Everywhere you see that deep red, that's 6+ inches of rainfall. And we're watching some deeper colors showing up in parts of Grayson County and Hart County, which means those totals are even getting higher than that. So this is certainly quite concerning, especially since we are still dealing with even more of that rainfall across the area. But we're starting to see a trend of more of the rain pushing further to the south. That is helping to dry you out in southern Indiana as of right now. Still seeing some spotty showers in parts of Scott County and Jefferson County in Indiana, some drizzle elsewhere, and a little bit of heavier rain trying to push into the central and southern portions of Harrison County as of right now. That does stretch back into Meade and Breckenridge County too. In the metro, we're a lot drier, not that heavy rain that we were dealing with earlier this morning. So we are getting that drying trend showing up here too. Also from Shelbyville to Frankfort, some moderate at times heavier rainfall. A lot of the deep red showing very heavy rain in southern portions of Franklin County. Seeing some more of that heavy rain from near Bardstown to Hodgenville and even south into portions of Greene and Taylor counties. For those of you in the Greensburg area, giving you that heads up, we're watching pretty decent thunderstorm moving your way with torrential rain. Keep in mind, we have flash flood warnings across most of the region as of this moment because this boundary is still nearby, and as it sinks a little bit further to the southeast, that is why we're seeing that drying trend for those of you along and north of 64. But here's the thing, this boundary will lift right to the north as we get into the second half of the day, increasing not just our rain chances, but our storm chances across the region. That flood watch still in place, and it's going to last all the way through your Sunday as you watch for all of these rounds of rain in the forecast. Now, with this rain and with the clouds overhead, our temperatures have not budged very much. We're still sitting in those upper 40s and the 50s across Wave Country. We will do our best to climb, though, as we head through the afternoon and into this evening. Our Futurecast shows that we'll watch for that gradual drying trend to continue for those of you along and north of 64 as we get closer to 7, 8, 9 o'clock this morning. Still keeping some of those scattered storms for those of you further to the south. As we get towards lunch, we start to see the boundary lifting back to the north, meaning more of those showers and thunderstorms pushing towards 64, pushing into Indiana, and another wave of some stronger storms trying to move in for the afternoon and evening hours, watching that 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. time frame for some strong to severe storms possible through that point. Now, as that boundary continues to push to the north, as we get into later on tonight, we'll keep some pockets of heavy rain. We'll keep some of those gusty thunderstorms in our forecast before we see a little bit of dry time into very early tomorrow morning. So how much additional rainfall are we looking at for today? Well, we're going to see around 1 to 3 inches of additional rainfall on top of what we've already seen through the day today and into early tomorrow morning. We also have that marginal risk of severe weather across most of our region, with that slight risk for those of you further to the west. The threats are still the same as what we've seen over the past couple of days. While the threat is lower, still cannot rule out some damaging winds, some hail, and an isolated tornado or two. So while the threat is lower, I still want to make sure that you are weather aware. Flooding continues to be our main concern as we head into your Saturday, with additional waves of storms moving in after about 2 a.m. And then we'll watch for some strong storms for early tomorrow morning before the sun comes up. As we get towards lunch tomorrow, widespread heavy rain, keeping some more of those showers and thunderstorms for your Saturday afternoon and evening, some of which, yes, could be strong to severe. Widespread heavy rain lasting from Saturday night into your Sunday morning. We have a slight risk of severe weather for everyone for tomorrow, as well as we keep an eye on the damaging wind, hail, and of course that isolated tornado threat. Now, by the time everything is said and done, we could see an additional 3 to 6 inches of rainfall for those of you in yellow, so southern Indiana and our south central Kentucky areas. But then everybody else, you could add on an additional 6 to 8 inches of rain. That's between the rest of today, through Saturday, and into the first half of your Sunday. The first half of next week, quiet, cool, comfortable. We'll add in some rain chances for next Thursday and Friday. And as of right now, Thunder weekend trending drier and warmer. We're going to keep knocking on wood that stays that way.
Yes, very much so. Thanks, Tawana. Here's a look at the big stories that we're following today around the country and the world. Tonight, a vote-o-rama is expected over the budget federal lawmakers are trying to pass. In addition to increasing the debt limit, the Republican measure includes money for immigration enforcement, an overhaul of the tax code, and more. Senate Democrats are expected to push Republicans through several amendment votes tonight. The clock is ticking for TikTok. A bipartisan law is set to ban it over national security concerns unless its parent company, ByteDance, sells it by tomorrow. The White House says it's still working on a deal to keep TikTok in U.S. app stores. ByteDance must sell at least 80% ownership to a non-Chinese company. And all teams for the men's NCAA Final Four have arrived in San Antonio. The downtown area is expected to be packed with fans, and things kick off today with plenty of fan events. Saturday's matchups feature Florida against Auburn, followed by Houston and Duke. The winners play for the national championship game on Monday night. Those are some of your top headlines. We'll have your wake-up watch list right after this. We're continuing to follow the evolving weather conditions as more and more rain falls across our region. It's set to make a huge issue when everything is trying to get over the storms from the day before. Wave News reporter Marissa Burke is giving us a look at how things are in Louisville. And Marissa, how are things?
Well, different parts of Wave Country are dealing with different issues. On the Gene Snyder, the eastbound lanes are down to one lane, and I want you to see what we're talking about. There was a mudslide, and crews have been working to clean this up for over an hour. Metro Safe sent out an alert close to 5 a.m., so if you need to take this way to get to work, you can go onto 65 and get off on the National Turnpike exit and take the outer loop to 65. And as a warning, I did look at the map moments ago, and it's showing a lot of red on that exit as well. So just be careful. Give yourself more time when you're heading out this morning. Tawana.
Yes, and what we're keeping an eye on right now is not just, that mudslide, but more of that rain. But thankfully, more of us getting a little bit of a break as this band of showers and thunderstorms sinks to the south. So that means more of Kentucky, who's already seen around 46 inches of rain after this whole thing started, dealing with more of that rainfall. So we'll watch to see that drying trend as we head through the mid-morning hours. The flood watch, remember, that goes all the way through Sunday. A number of flash flood warnings in place across the region as well. We're going to keep those rounds of rain for the morning, into the afternoon, into tonight. We do see a little bit of a break late tonight into early tomorrow morning for most of the region, but then that wave of rain returns on Saturday, and then we'll keep more storms around on Sunday. So yeah, flooding is a big issue, and we'll watch for a few more rain chances by next Thursday and Friday.
We'll give you a map view of that alternate route Marissa Burke was talking about with that mudslide. There you see it between National Turnpike and 65 on the Snyder. Take a left on National Turnpike, go up National Turnpike, turn right on Outer Loop. Then you can rejoin I-65. You can head north on 65 towards downtown or head south on 65 if you need to get back on the Snyder. We did have another accident a minute ago along the Waterston right in front of the airport. Looks like, though, that accident has cleared up here in the last few minutes. A quick look at the rest of the Metro traffic cameras. Obviously, the roads are wet. There is ponding in spots, and especially if you drive near interstates that have those big rock walls, we may have a mudslide concern. We've already seen it this morning. That'll linger into the weekend.
Yeah, and it was amazing to see just how strong that mud was. It was just a mess out there. So hopefully they can get that cleaned out fast. Thank you all so much for joining us here on Sunrise. Hope you have a great Friday and keep up to date with the Wave Weather app all weekend.
Get live streaming news 24